This week we've heard damaging new evidence at the first public hearings as part of the impeachment investigation into US President Donald Trump. Joining us now is visiting fellow at the US Studies Centre and Sky News contributor Bruce Wolpe. Bruce, welcome, and well, look, we've just seen that. What do you make of that whole scenario?
Just an exceptional moment in an extraordinary week of testimony on the impeachment issues before the House Intelligence Committee. And we're in a different age. A witness is testifying and the President of the United States is on Twitter questioning her account and attacking her. Then the chairman of the committee can read that tweet back to the witness who responds. So it's sort of reality television meets an impeachment proceeding. And I think a lot of people recoiled from what the president did. And I think a lot of people, even conservatives, have been on Fox News this morning just saying that this could be witness intimidation. Not a good look for the President of the United States. Well,
it's a changed world, isn't it? Social media obviously has only been around for
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. Yeah. Less than a decade.
Yeah.
But how do they see that? Are there rules in place to take in the banner of social media because of its instantaneous manner?
We're finding this out in real time, but nevertheless, this thing is proceeding with an air of gravitas to it, where what the committee is doing is bringing professional diplomats, public servants, people who have been in the State Department, people who have served in these countries overseas, getting their accounts as to what happened in Ukraine. Those accounts vary dramatically with what the president has said. And you have this constitutional confrontation about whether the president should continue to serve in office. Now, the Republicans are saying this is a rigged hearing. President Trump says this is a rigged hearing. And on the tweet, he said, I have freedom of speech too. I can talk too. And he's asserting his case. He's not giving up. He's not conceding anything. And they're also saying there's no direct tie between anything that occurred and President Trump. In other words, they don't have someone who was with the president when he did such and such. And they also say, the aid to Ukraine continued. There was no investigation of the Bidens. So why are you trying to impeach the president under those circumstances? Is this just raw politics? You didn't like 2016. You want to nullify the election. And that's where it's going. So that's their political argument on this.
William Taylor, look, we'll hear from him in just a tick, but he's already testified behind closed doors this week.
He in closed doors, and then he went in open session, and he really just told his story. And what we'll see is a 71, 73-year-old diplomat who has served under every president since Ronald Reagan. So this is star quality State Department ambassadorial material. And he was laying out what he saw as wrong in trying to have political interference in Ukraine by the President of the United States.
Here's William Taylor.
The member of my staff could hear President Trump on the phone asking Ambassador Sondland about the investigations. Ambassador Sondland told President Trump the Ukrainians were ready to move forward. Following the call with President Trump, the member of my staff asked Ambassador Sondland what President Trump thought about Ukraine. Ambassador Sondland responded that President Trump cares more about the investigations of Biden, which Giuliani was pressing for.
What's Nancy Pelosi been up to?
Nancy Pelosi has been trying to marshal her caucus to reach a consensus as to how to proceed. It's very interesting. I've been in these meetings when I served in Congress and she was Speaker. And there were meetings of the Democratic caucus. And she gets everyone together and said, well, let's talk about what's pending, health care. Now she's talking about impeachment. And she wants this framed in a way that will have the widest appeal to the American people to understand what is occurring and the stakes that are involved. And where she has landed, and we're going to hear more and more about this in the coming days, is that under the Constitution, the crimes of impeachment that you can use are treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors. And what she is saying is, when you look at all the evidence, what has occurred is that President Trump said, I will either give or withhold aid, and I will either give you or withhold a meeting with me as president unless you investigate the Bidens. And she says, that's bribery. And I think there, among the Democrats, it's sort of a cut-through moment, and they say, now I can understand it and I can see it really clearly. She believes that that argument, as amplified by these hearings, will have cut through and move the needle, is the term, of public opinion as to where the president stands. Now, a majority, bare majority of the American public seems to support impeachment according to the polls. She wants to move that needle up a little bit.
Roger Stone?
Roger Stone.
It's like we're writing a Hollywood script here.
I wish he was. He would stay out of trouble that way. Roger Stone is a 40-year associate of President Trump. He worked with Richard Nixon. He is a political consigliere. Roger Stone was not paid by the campaign or anything like that, but he worked very closely with WikiLeaks to coordinate the dissemination of Hillary's emails during the 2016 campaign. There were a whole bunch of damaging emails on Hillary Clinton. It helped reduce her popularity. Roger Stone was convicted a few hours ago of lying to Congress and witness tampering, and he will go to jail. And this is for someone so close to President Trump to be convicted of a crime like that. This, plus what happened in the impeachment hearing, a very bad day for President Trump.
Here is Donald Trump. Let's have a listen to him.
I hear it's a joke. I haven't watched for 1 minute because I've been with the president, which is much more important as far as I'm concerned. This is a sham and shouldn't be allowed. It was a situation that was caused by people that shouldn't have allowed it to happen. I want to find out who is the whistleblower, and because the whistleblower gave a lot of very incorrect information, including my call with the president of Ukraine, which was a perfect call and highly appropriate. And he wrote something that was much different than the fact. I want to find out why the IG, why would he have presented that when in fact all he had to do is check the call itself and he would have seen it. I'm going to be releasing, I think on Thursday, a second call, which actually was the first of the two. And you'll make a determination as to what you think there. But I've heard just a report. They said it's all third-hand information, nothing direct at all. It can't be direct because I never said it.
As you can see, Tim, he's just pushing back on all fronts. He concedes nothing. He believes he did nothing wrong. He says his dealings with the president of Ukraine were very straightforward and legitimate. He thinks the process is bad, highly politicized. It's a witch hunt. And he sees it in the larger context, a continuation of what he endured with the Mueller investigation on Russia and other items. And he just believes there's a conspiracy to take him down. And this is what we just saw here. We're going to see consistently throughout this process.
You mentioned the terminology moving the needle. Well, it's certainly moving the needle right across everything in the United States. It is shadowing the Democratic campaign. It's shadowing everything that's happening in Washington. One other subject that I wanted to ask you, we could talk for an hour, is basically what's happening in Syria. Now, the US have come out and they said they really want other countries to take their people home. Now, the Australian government at this point is saying no. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting US-Australian diplomatic issue, this one.
It is, and there are like perhaps up to 4 million refugees on the Turkish side of the Syrian border that have fled and so forth. That's a hell of a lot of people. Extremely expensive. They come from other countries. Turkey wants them repatriated in some form. So this is going to be an ongoing political problem for all the countries that do have people there. And as we can see, even when the ISIS wives comes up, it becomes a very hot political issue. And it is really tough for countries to deal with. I don't know what's going to happen. Erdogan wants to move them back into Syria and say, okay, it's your problem. I'm going to take care of myself in Turkey. No long-term solution in sight.
No, yeah, the Australian government has allowed some orphans to come home, but at this point, no other.
Adults, they don't want them back in the country.
All right, Bruce, always good to talk to you.
Thank you, Tim.